So it's good to see everyone. Let's get started. Yeah, I'm a little slow getting started today, so we're just going to go right into it. Come on up here. And we're recording this, so let's begin. Okay, so let's start with some breath work. So let's start actually with one hand on the chest and one hand on the lower abdomen. And feet, just look down to make sure that your feet are firmly planted and they're about outer hip distance apart. One hand on the chest, one hand on the lower abdomen. And we'll start by wave breathing. So inhale first, let the belly expand, let the breath come up, expand the ribs. And the last is the chest rises. So it starts from the bottom and rises up. And then you exhale, let the chest sink down, the ribs pull in, and then the belly pulls in. So nice slow wave in and nice slow wave out. Feeling the mechanics of the breath, right? We inhale the diaphragm, although you can't really see the diaphragm, we can sense as the belly puffs out, right? Something is descending and pushing out the belly, and that's the diaphragm. As we inhale, descends and sort of presses down gently against the lower internal organs. So the lungs can really expand if we take a deep, full breath. And then on the exhale, the diaphragm kind of sneaks back up and the belly pulls back in towards the spine. And then let's open the eyes and let's start with knocking on the door of life, our traditional knocking on the door of life. So moving from the hips and the waist, knocking across the lower abdomen, the back. So we start by waking up the energy, starting to stimulate these acupuncture points that increase energy, excuse me. But this is really good at just creating circulation, creating movement of fluids, come up just below the collarbone. Even this area, really good to help, as we say in Chinese medicine, tonify or help benefit the lungs, but the immune system in general. We have a lot of lymph nodes in the armpit area. So we're starting to improve circulation throughout these important immune system zones. And then let's come all the way up to the top of the shoulders. If you haven't noticed, Willie, at the end of class, she got a haircut and she got a lot more cut than she normally does. So she looks like a totally different dog. Keep looking and saying, who is this? And then come back down below the collarbone. And then back down to the waist. And then let's start to slow that down. So from here, we are going to go into a modified version of spinal cord breathing to the sides. This is called bear walking. I think we've done a while ago. So bear walking, we're going to first turn to your left. And as you do, you're going to come to the ball of your right foot. And as we do, you're going to then bring the hands up by the head. So you're getting a nice rotation and then extension. So you look up towards the ceiling. And then as we come to the center, we exhale back down. So we first, by rotate now over to the right, come to the ball of your left foot because it helps get into that rotation. And then bring the hands up by the head as you inhale. So stretching the area of the chest and then back down to the center. So we turn, rotate, inhale, bring the hands up, and then exhale back to the center. And then over to the right, inhale. And back to the center. So inhale, center. So we're helping to rotate the spine. We're actually opening the hips slightly, opening up the spine in the front. So extending, looking up the space in the pectoral area, and then moving on the breath. Do that one more to each side. Inhale, exhale, and inhale, and exhale. Okay, so our spine is nice and open now. So let's go into a couple of clearing exercises. So this one we haven't done it in a little bit. Tiger clears the way. So this is a pumping action. So it's a increasing energy exercise, but it's a purging also. So this is the one where we start with our tiger claws above our heads. And then as we bend the knees, the arms come down and then out to the sides as the knees straighten. And then the knees bend again as the arms come back down. And then everything straightens as the arms come up. So the knees bend and then straight as the arms come out to the sides, and then bend and then extend. And then if you pick up a little bit of momentum, it's a little bit of a pump. And then we can imagine these tiger claws, we're clearing the way, clearing the stuff that we want to get rid of. And with a sharp exhale. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth as a way of purging of any stressed energy, stuff that we don't really want clinging around internally, just transforming it. So using the breath to exhale forcefully. And then also this pumping of the knees, really good to help stimulate circulation. Great for return blood flow back to the heart. And then we start to slow down. Okay, so the heart might be pumping a little bit harder. It's good. Light, controlled, voluntary stress that we put on the body as a way to create resilience, right? So let's do one more tiger exercise. This one really good for opening the back, strengthening the legs, also a purging exercise. Only go down as far as feels okay for you, your knees, your back. So this is when we just go straight down and then back up. So tiger claws above the head. When you come down, keep your weight more towards your heels because that will protect your knees. Take a nice inhale, and as we start to bend the knees, the arms come down towards the earth. So you're in a pretty deep squat here. So weight more towards the heels than towards the toes. And then inhale, those tiger claws come up, and then exhale, back down. Inhale, strong exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Really good to help the respiratory system. So if you've been getting colds or getting sick recently and you're feeling better, but your lungs need some help, this is a great way of kind of clearing anything that's kind of left over. Do one more. And then come up. Let's cross the forearms. Take a nice inhale. And then a strong exhale as you separate the hands. Okay, so good for strengthening the legs, good for the lower back, good for the lungs. Excellent. I love that one. And now let's open our stance a little bit. And we're going to go into moving the body like a river, but let's all start upright. So if you're used to leaning forward a little bit more, let's all start upright. So still bending the knees, so your hands are on your thighs. And let's just start playing with really feeling this wave or ripple up the spine and really focus on relaxing the neck. So shifting first. So see my weight shifts first with the hips, and then the body rolls over to that side. The neck is nice and loose, and the head arrives last. Now over to the left. And then we roll over. So hips, and then the body, and then the head. Because what you're creating there from the base up is a lateral movement through the spine. A nice loose neck. Think about the weight shifting, and then the torso is rolling over, and the head rolls over last. So the lateral movement goes all the way up into the cervical spine, which is the top portion of our spine. And feeling the muscles that are on either side of the spine in the back, the erector muscles, right? They can get very tight, all the work they do. So here we're also creating some movement and flexibility in the muscles that are on either side of the spine, helping to lubricate the joints, but also bringing blood flow and flexibility to the muscles around the spine. And then let's come to the center, hands right in the center of the chest. And then let's separate the hands and look up. Inhale and exhale. And inhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. So we are going into a different version of moving the body like a river. So this is the one where we're still shifting right to left, but as we shift over to one side, we're going to stay over there for a side angle stretch. So what that means is if we start, shift the weight over to your right, drop, either keep your hand on your thigh or drop your elbow down, and then extend your left arm up above your head. And then come to the center. So both hands come to the thighs. And now shift the weight over to the left. And either drop your elbow down or keep your hand on your thigh. And now the right arm comes up overhead. So you're making a pretty straight line from the ankle to the hip, all the way overhead. And then to the center. And then now over to the right. So you're getting a nice stretch. You can even imagine that you're pointing your hand towards the corner of the room and then maybe look up towards that arm. And then back to the center. Now over to the left, to the center, to the right, to the center. Nice stretch. To the center. To the center. Keeping the legs, even though it's taking a lot of strength here, see if you can create some relaxation there. And then inhale. Exhale to the center. Inhale. If your hands are on your thighs, you'll be a little more upright, like this, where you're still coming over and creating that side angle, like you're an isosceles triangle, if that's correct. And let's do one more to each side. I was good at geometry. I was not good at algebra, calculus, anything like that. I was good with, always good with shapes. And then come to the center, but not with like formulas. That was always tricky for me. Inhale and look up. And exhale back to the center. And then inhale one more time. Back to the center. And once more for good measure. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, let's bring the feet back to shoulder width apart. And let's do some shaking before we go into our flows. So let's do some shaking with healing sounds. So nice inhale. And the sound of the metal is TSSS. We'll do each sound twice. Inhale. Reminder, healing sounds are really good to help purge the internal organs. So that was for the lungs. Now inhale, this is for the kidneys, it's the water element. 2. Inhale. And then inhale. Now the liver, it's the wood element, it's the sh. Inhale. And again. And now the heart sound is ha, H-A-A. Inhale. And again. And now the earth element, the spleen stomach is W-H-O-O-A. And again. And then finally, the triple burner is H-E-E-E. Inhale. And again. And then let's start to slow down. And let's just pause here. Let's give ourselves a minute. Notice where we are physically, where our mind is. And we'll start our flows with pulling the Gossamer's thread, and then we'll go into one of Cynthia's, my favorites, embrace the tiger, return to the mountain, and then a variation of that same flow. So we'll start with, so this is pulling the Gossamer thread to the 6 directions. So as a reminder, the Gossamer thread, we each movement will be touching your thumb to each consecutive finger, and then they all come together as we exhale. So what that looks like. So we start keeping the nice flexibility through the arms and the wrist. As we initially inhale, you're touching the thumb to your index finger. So we slowly inhale first up and then pull in, then touch thumb to middle finger as we slowly push forward. Now touch thumb to the ring finger as we slowly pull back in. Touch thumb to the pinky finger now as we extend to the sides. And then all the fingers and thumbs come together as we pull in to the center, and then release the fingers as we exhale back down. So first, thumb and index finger, we inhale up and in. Exhale, push forward, touching your middle finger with your thumb. Index finger and thumb as we inhale back in. And then exhale to the sides, thumb to pinky. And then inhale all the fingers together with the thumb to the center. Release your fingers so your hands are relaxed as we exhale down. So we're going to go into this many times. So just think about each movement, we're touching the thumb to a different finger. The mind and the body, there's a convergence in what's happening in our hands, of our minds and our physical body. So it's a great way to kind of bring the mind into the present moment with the body, which is always in the present moment, right? It takes focus and concentration, right? Which helps sort of focus our attention into what's happening right now. And it's a great exercise for the mind. Exhale down. So again, we always start, the thumb touches the index finger as we float up and then pull in. Exhale, touching the middle finger as we exhale forward. Index finger to ring as we slowly, so going slow is really important here also. Going slow is where we are allowing our bodies to absorb energy in the environment around us. And going slow with these finer movements here that require more focus and attention helps engage the mind into what the body's doing. So it is a great way to connect mind and body, mindfulness. So slowly inhaling, and these gossamer threads are these invisible threads that connect us to our environment. The internal threads that we have inside are the meridian channels in Chinese medicine. It's how energy, these pathways of how things flow, the movement behind blood flow, circulation, heartbeat, digestion. And so we're connecting those rivers and channels and the organs that they connect to, the reservoirs, to the environment that's around us, and helping to pull these golden threads of energy into our internal environment. And it's also a meditation on what kind of energy do you want to bring in? I do want to bring in light, golden light that's healing and weightless and joyful? Or do we want to bring in threads that are heavy and lead-like? Do we want to be uplifted or weighed down? And we have the ability to draw in the energy that we want to cultivate, putting our minds where we want energy to go. Because where the mind goes, energy follows. So what thoughts do you want to have? And start having that conversation with ourselves and the discernment of what we want to be paying attention to. Inhale up and in. Exhale, slowly push forward. The golden threads of light. The energetic connective network of all things. Just like we communicate with cell phones, right? That's an invisible energy. We don't see the actual connections that are happening, but somehow miraculously, I could pick up this device, press a couple of buttons, and then be having a conversation like we are right now. So this communication is happening through this invisible field. And now let's exhale our hands all the way down to our chi ball for a moment. Pulse the hands back and forth. Feeling that the energy now in those fingertips. When we start to become masters of our own energy, when we can recognize when we're feeling the lead and transforming it into gold, and having uh, a really strong filtration system that we want to pull in and bring in, and what we want to feel, and letting the other things, other stuff be transformed. Let that go. So from here, we're going into embrace the tiger, return to the mountain. So we start here with the inhale, and then exhale, separate the hands Inhale, bring the back of the hands together as we roll the hands up the spine. Exhale, push forward. And then inhale the arms all up and all the way down. So that's a big inhale. So we start exhale, bend the knees slightly, and then we inhale. So the back of the bending, not too much, just slightly. And then you want to roll the spine up as the arms come up, the back of the hands come up to about shoulder height. And then exhale, push forward. And then inhale, make a big circle all the way around. So exhale, and then inhale, rolling the spine as we draw the hands up, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Exhale, push forward, and then extending up and around on the inhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale forward. Big inhale up all the way down. And then exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Embracing the tiger, returning to the mountain. The tiger, again, represents strength, of course, but courage. This majestic animal energy that we all have. Embracing our power, being courageous, and then coming back to stillness inside ourselves. This mountain of foundational energy, our internal home that we always have, that we can return to over and over again. Embracing our power, and then coming back to stillness. And relax into the flow. Exhale, inhale, excuse me. And then we exhale, just let the arms glide apart. And as we inhale, they fall back in towards one another. And we inhale, we just roll the spine up. The arms will naturally rise as we start to rise up. And then as we exhale, think about sinking towards the heels, right? We're exhaling forward, creating some space. And then we're inhale, this big golden orb of light around us. Exhale. We're going to do this one more time and then we'll pause. So continue this last round. Inhale up, exhale forward. Inhale, let's come back to our chi ball for a moment. Feeling our strength, feeling the firmness of our feet on the ground. So from here, we are doing a similar version, but as the arms come around, this is where we're going to spin the hands. First, the fingers spin back and then towards the ground. And then we'll go into, again, only go down as far as feels good for you. You're going to bend the knee, you're going to reach towards the earth. And then almost like we're scooping something up. Well, I'm just going over the second half so you know what to expect. So like you're holding now this earth golden light that we solidify. We kind of like we're molding a mound of dough, right? And then we lift, except it's golden and light. Then we lift that light up and then we exhale it through the three treasures, spirit, emotions, and body. And then we just float the hands up and then down. So what that looks like from the beginning, we'll start the same, embrace the tiger, return to the mountain. So inhale, exhale, separate the hands. Inhale, let's roll up. Same thing, we'll exhale forward. Inhale, the arms come up. Now, as they come around, right, as they come down towards your waist, turn your fingers in and then down. So they kind of spiral in and then down and will reach towards the earth. So keep your weight more towards your heels again to protect your knees. And then we'll scoop up right into our center. Imagine that you're holding now this golden light that we solidify by tracing the exterior, like consolidating energy. And then we'll take that consolidated light and then inhale right in front of the face. And then exhale that all the way through the body. So the hands are now down. And then just inhale, float the arms up. And then exhale, they float down. And that's the whole sequence. So inhale, exhale, separate the hands. Inhale, roll the spine up. Exhale, forward. Inhale, big circle, hand spiral in, and then down towards the earth. We're going to scoop up our golden earth energy. I'm going to consolidate it, feeling like you are actually shaping something between your palms. And then we'll lift that up right in front of your face. So you're not touching, you're right in front of your forehead. And then exhale that light. Imagine that you're beaming this light down the center of the body, all the way back down. And then inhale, the arms float up. And exhale down. Let's do that again. So start with the exhale. We'll inhale to the center. Exhale, separate. Inhale, back of the hands come together as we roll up. Exhale, forward. Inhale, big circle. Hands spiral in and then down. Connect to the earth, scoop up. Create a consolidated ball of energy. And then inhale it right in front of the face and slow exhale down through. Imagine that light is just descending from your head down the center of your body all the way down. And then inhale and exhale. Okay, one more time. Inhale, exhale, separate. Inhale, coming together, rolling up. Exhale, pushing forward. Inhale, hands spiral in and then down and reaching towards the earth, scooping up and then consolidating. And then inhale. One last time, exhale that light all the way through the center of the body. So the body starts to light up from the inside out. And then inhale. And let's come back to our chi ball. And let's just pause. Imagine now that light is illuminating you from the inside out. The internal environment is totally bright with this golden light. And then drop the arms down and we'll pull down the skies, but a slight variation. We're going to inhale the arms down, around, and up. Now this time, if you can see my hands, stack one hand on top of the other. They're not touching. See how I have some space, but you're kind of aligning one palm over the other. And then bring the hands in front of you, keeping that distance so that hands aren't touching. And then exhale down through the center. And then the hands will continue, the palms are still kind of on top of one another all the way back down. So we inhale. So one hand on top of the other as we start to come down the center of the body. So I'm actually turning my hands slightly. So now my fingers are facing down as we finish the exhale. So inhale. Exhale down through the center. Inhale. One last time. And exhale. Let's bring the hands to the lower abdomen as we bring the feet closer together, and we'll finish off a nice 30 seconds or so, feeling really rooted, feeling the body's relaxed, but also lit up with this golden healing energy. Right, as we connect with the energy around us, slowly pulling in what we want to pull in, how we want to feel, creating some integration, and then acknowledging our strength and our inner reservoir of stillness. And having some gratitude maybe for our bodies as we moved through the practice, for our breath, for our experiences. And that each day is a new day for opportunity, possibility, potential, but really each moment has its own new potential full of possibilities. You know, and we're a part of creating our own worlds. And then when you're ready, you can crack your eyes open. Thank you, everyone. If you did notice in the email, I'm sending emails now specifically for Qigong. I'm going to CC the Ecolife email just for a bit. So I don't want to lose anyone in the transition, but the Qigong, just to make it easier also for Sam and Michelle who monitor the inbox at the clinic, just keeping it very separate so that Qigong, they don't have to worry about those. So the emails will be coming from my info@ekimqigong.com. So if you have any questions, if you want to reach out or if you want to give someone that email address because they have a question specifically about Qigong, then feel free to use that. What else? How's everyone doing?
Good. That was good. Quite literally, I love embracing my tigers and returning to the mountains. So not only do I like the movement, I love the title.
Yeah. I know it's one of my favorite also.
I have 2 tiger cats. And I've just gotten back to the mountains.
I would say like these domestic cats that we have are like really good. They emulate that, right? Because they're like strong, but they come back and there's like this peacefulness and like resoluteness about them. But like, man, but they can be fierce. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a really great weekend. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, I was thinking about our Qigong class. This is just a really quick side note. I got a new violin. Oh, nice. You don't know, like I loosely play the violin, but I had really old, crappy one that was like basically falling apart. So I went to this beautiful place, if you know of it, in Livingston, New Jersey, called Menzel Violins. It's been established for quite some time, and now the woman is the daughter of the original owner. And so I was trying out some violins, but if you don't know about like violins or stringed instruments that have a bow, like bowing, the bowing is almost more important than anything. And I was like rigid, and I was like playing the bow, and and she was trying to teach me like it's all on the wrist versus like moving the shoulder and the elbow. And this is where you have most control over how the bow is moving and how you can create much better smooth sounds by keeping by having the movement in the wrist. And I was like, this is so qigong. So we talk about like relaxing into the flow. So I was trying to use these elements of qigong as I was trying to like remind myself of like relaxing and how the flow happens when we relax. And flow doesn't, and you can tell the difference in how the sound comes when you're like tight and moving more like you're forcing it rather than allowing it to fall and rise back up. And it was so beautiful, just like thinking about and watching people online. I'm like, they're doing qigong.
Uh,
Really,
uh,
they're doing qigong. So anyway, I thought you'd like that little story.
yeah,
And
it
then
was.
Willie here, come here. She got
Good.
she looks like a little poodle now. Yeah, she got her summer haircut a little late. But anyway, it was lovely seeing all of you, and I hope to see you next week, if not on Monday. And yeah, have a beautiful, safe weekend.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Bye bye.